Hello, Miss Bell's Algebra 2 class. I'm taking a look at this Chapter 4 final review for you seniors. If you need a little bit of help with this is going to give you extra credit. This is going to help you out. I'm going to just talk about the odd ones to begin with and then just finish up with the odd ones too. I was working on this with another student, so you might see some of the other answers that might help you out as you are working through it, but I'm just going to be talking about the odd ones. So this first one, we find the GCF of the terms of the polynomial. So the GCF, the greatest common factor, is going to be the 2x squared. And I factored that out. So, you know, I did one step further. So in parentheses, you would have 13 plus, that is 17x to the second power. So that's an x to the second power. You can't see that. I had to squeeze it in there because I almost forgot the x. Number 3, factor the polynomial. So I'm just taking out the GCF, which is 2x. And what's in the parentheses ends up being x squared plus 2x plus 4. So that's factored. Number 5, multiply binomials, and that star means make sure you're showing your work. So remember, we're using the FOIL method, so we're going to take the first times the first. That's what we get. Take the outsides, that's what we get, negative 15. Take the insides, that's what we get, negative 21. And then the last times last, so negative 7 times negative 5 gives you a positive 35. Combine these like terms on the inside, and I get negative 36x. All right, taking a look at number 7. For number 7, what is the factored form of the following expressions? So for this, we just have to think of what two numbers do we multiply to get 45, and we add and get negative 14. Well, that would be negative 5 and negative 9. Multiplying these two negatives would give you a positive 45. And then adding these up, when we think of FOIL backwards, outside and inside, a negative 9 plus a negative 5 would give you a negative 14d. All right. Number 9, factored form of this expression, r2 minus 49. The 49 would be 7 times 7, and you take 1 plus, 1 minus. When you do the FOIL method, the outside and the inside, you'd have a 7r minus a 7r, so that's why there's nothing in the middle, nothing in between like you had up here, because they cancel each other out, and so that's the factored form right there, r plus 7 and r minus 7. All right, moving on. Number 11. Identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry of the graph of the function. Okay, remember you have the vertex is negative hk, and you have the h goes right here and the k goes right here. This is in vertex form. So remember, the formula is negative h. So to make it positive, you would need a negative because two negatives make a positive. So this would be negative 2, and the k would be a negative 4. So your vertex is going to be negative 2, negative 4. The axis of symmetry is just the x value, which is going to be a negative 2. Okay. Give you a little bit of help with number 12. Remember, it's going to be flipped from the parent function. The parent function, remember, is this way, like a smiley face. So it's going to be flipped because it's negative. It's going to be to the right 2 and down 4. So pick out which one is showing that. Number 13, talk about this one. We're to use the vertex form equation. And so in number 13, my a is negative 2, my b is 8, and my c is negative 20, even though I don't have to use my c. I listed it anyways. So I plug in my b, which is 8, so it becomes negative 8. And 2 times a, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So negative 8 divided by negative 4 gives me 2. So my axis of symmetry, my AOS, is 2. I go back in and I plug that in to figure out what the y would equal. Y would equal negative 12. So the vertex is 2, negative 12. That's your x value. That's your y value, 2, negative 12. Okay. And then let's jump on down to 15. So 15, what are the solutions of the quadratic equation? Solved by factoring for the quadratic or the quadratic formula. Okay, so for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to add a 28 to both sides of the equation. And when we do that, we should get the plus 28. Just putting this into Desmos, you could see where it crosses the x values. So you should have negative 7, 0 and negative 4, 0 for that one. Number 17. Number 17, my A is 1, my B is 2, and my C is negative 8. And what I ended up doing is just putting in the A and B in the vertex form. So ended up with negative 9 and negative 1 being the vertex. I grabbed 2 before and 2 after, and just in my calculator plugged that into the equation and got these answers for your T-chart. I went ahead and graphed it. Don't mind those little dots there, but that's the graph of it. And I continued up to where I got solutions because she said something about solutions. So that would be where intercepts, the x-intercepts. So negative 4, 0 and 2, 0 would be for number 17. Number 19, use the quadratic formula to solve the equation. So my A is negative 1, B is 6, and my C is negative 5. That's the quadratic formula. Plug in your A, B's, and C's. So I know my B looks like a 6, but here I actually change it to a 6. And here's my A, here's my C, here's my A. Work it out to negative 6 plus or minus square root of 16 divided by negative 2. And both of those would be where x equals 1 and x equals 5 once you finalize that. For number 21, we're going to bring out an I to get rid of the negative. And remember, 144 is 12 times 12, square root of 144. I guess I should have just kept that 144. Square root of 144 is 12. So it's just 12i. And moving on to number 23. This one would be easy if I could get you started. It's just going to be 1 minus 2i minus 2 minus I, and you just combine your like terms. This one, you're multiplying, so that's why there's a star there. You have to do the FOIL method. So I did first times first, outside times outside, inside times inside, and last times last. Oh, last times last, there it goes. Remember, I squared means equals negative 1, so I changed that and I combine these like terms. Negative 5 times a negative 1 is a positive 5, so 8 plus 5 is 13 plus 18i. That's what you should be getting. And use the quadratic formula. So go ahead and use this formula once again. Your A is going to equal 1/2. Your B equals 1, negative 1. And C equals 4. So that should help get you started with that. Okay, good luck with the rest. And good luck with the upcoming test.